So I guess my exercising initiative wasn't necessary at all, huh? Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Robert Kennedy Jr. I am the Democratic nominee for Alabama's 1st Congressional District. And it is my sincere pleasure to be with you today. So is Senator Doug Jones actually here?
He is here.
He is here, okay. So I actually want to do a little introduction of Senator Doug Jones from a couple of different perspectives. One, as somebody that I competed against, and also as someone who has become a mentor to me. Does that work for you guys? So, 3 quick stories. The first one was the very first time that I met candidate Doug Jones at the time was when we were at an NAACP rally up in Montgomery. And we started this kind of comical rapport where, because our names are next to each other, either he would be speaking first or I would be speaking first. And so he slipped up and kind of tossed up this softball in our first debate, and I just knocked it over the fence. So he comes up to me immediately afterwards, and the first thing he ever said to me was a compliment. He just pulled me in real close, and he said, "Man, you're good on your feet." And that was the very first piece of positive feedback that I had gotten during the campaign process. Now, for those of you who've gotten to know me, you know I'm kind of a smart aleck. So when he said that, I kind of said, "Yeah, I know." So a couple of weeks later, we were in the reverse order. He baited me, as any good Southern lawyer would. And I threw up a softball, and he tattooed it. And so when we got to the end of that, he pulled me in real close, and he said, "Man, I've been waiting for 3 weeks to get you back the last time." So my lesson was learned. Thank you for that lesson, Doug. I really appreciate it. The second funny story actually happened the week before the general election was over. I'm driving in my car, and I get a phone call on my personal cell phone. And I asked who it was, and they asked if I was Robert Kennedy Jr., who had run a U.S. Senate campaign. And I said yes. And it said, "Yes, we're a national media outlet, and we would like to get your comments on the election." And I said, "Well, what outlet are you with?" And they said, "Breitbart." And I was like, "Let me pull over." So here is the funniest thing about this. What he asked me was, "Do you think that Doug Jones can adequately represent black people?" That was the question that he actually asked. And I'm sitting here thinking, have you done any research? So clearly I assumed at that point that they were recording the phone call and trying to get some sort of sound bite that I could actually print. Well, I didn't give them anything, so none of that actually got printed. The final thing that I want to tell you in terms of the story about Senator Jones is the very first thing that I said to him after I saw him once he had been elected. I pulled him in real close and I said, "Thank you." I said, "Thank you for doing what you said you were going to do." You see, Robert Kennedy Jr. is standing here right now because Doug Jones decided to travel the campaign circuit during the Senate campaign when he didn't have to do it. And as people were coming out to hear Doug Jones, they heard Robert Kennedy Jr., they heard Jason Fisher, they heard Dr. Will Boyd. And what it was that we were able to communicate out was the fact that we had a fantastic cadre of Democratic candidates. And so for that, I say thank you. And going back to this comment as to whether or not Senator Doug Jones can adequately support black people, you may not know that Senator Doug Jones actually has called to check on me. Senator Doug Jones is a senator, as busy as he is actually taking time out of his schedule to sit down with me and mentor me on the issues of the day in order to make sure that I was adequately prepared. And even Senator Doug Jones' PAC has supported me financially. We know that we have some legacy issues within the Democratic Party, but Doug Jones has demonstrated in leadership by example what it means to mentor, recruit, and develop candidates. So So with that, it is my extreme pleasure and distinct honor to introduce Senator Doug Jones, the junior senator of the state of Alabama.